Happiness Bank and welcome to my weekly video blog, which is actually called a vlog, just in case you didn't know that. This week I want to talk to you about how to be open-minded enough to challenge old beliefs. I learn something new every single day, and every single day my belief system is challenged in some way. What I think is true is not, and what I believe is my reality is no longer. I know that losing weight is not easy. I'm a personal trainer. I have a degree in human movement science. Every day I'm reading articles on health and nutrition, and yet even I can't lose weight. I find it really hard. And I have this little voice in my head that I'm ashamed to say, and sort of, I guess, a little bit embarrassed to say, that judges people who are overweight. I look at them and this little voice in my head says, surely they know that they shouldn't be eating that, or surely they know what they should be eating, and they would have to know that they need to exercise and move more. Why can't they do that? And I don't realize that sometimes they just can't. And I had this just put fairly and squarely in my face this week that has changed my whole thinking around it and challenged my belief on it. I was out of town at a little regional town in Queensland, Australia, with a work colleague. We were up there to run an event for people with type 2 diabetes. I have a second job, and in that job I'm an event coordinator. Now, we've been travelling in the car for 2.5 to 3 hours. We'd had some lunch and we really needed to stretch our legs. So we walked up to the information centre and we were greeted by a really, really lovely man who wanted to tell us all about his town and what it had to offer. And he asked us why we were there. And we said, oh, look, we're here to run an event for people with type 2 diabetes. And at that, he looked at us really sheepishly and he said, oh, I actually should be at that event. I have type 2 diabetes, and in fact I've just had to go on to insulin because my tablets and managing it through my lifestyle is no longer working. And as he was saying that, he was kind of like rubbing this very large protruding tummy. He then went on to tell us his story. And his story was that he'd had a wife who sadly had passed away not long ago, who had quite severe mental disorder and also chronic kidney disease. They had spent many years just at doctors and hospitals and specialists, travelling up and down from the regional town to Brisbane, and it had really taken its toll on him. And he said, look, I know what I should be eating, but most of the time I just don't have the capacity, the emotional capacity, and I'm just too tired physically to prepare meals and cook healthy stuff. He said, so often we would just stop on the way and grab a hamburger or fish and chips or whatever is needed just to keep us going. Now, as I said, his wife had passed away, but tragedy had struck in another way. His daughter, who was 24 years old, had had a stroke, and he was now her full-time carer. There was so much going on in his life. And as I walked out of the information centre, I was at an absolute loss for words. My belief that, oh my gosh, all you need to do is to eat less and move more was just thrown out of the window. How could I tell a man, hey, this is all you need to do, when he's got all of that going on in his life? Now, that's just one man's story out of a world filled with people that have all those complexities playing into their lives. And in that instance, I realised that I know exercise is not easy, but it is not all about just eating less and moving more. It's so much more to that. So I guess what I'm trying to say to you this week is, in my learnings, is first of all, number one, is to come back to that old saying, never ever judge a book by its cover. I'm no longer going to have the same mindset or belief when I look at people who are overweight now. I'm going to look at them with a whole new set of eyes, a set of eyes that have some love and compassion, and a knowing that underneath all of that weight is a very vulnerable soul just looking for some help in a lot of cases. And the second learning I've got from that is, you know what, everyone's got a story. We just never take anyone at face value. Everyone's got a story. And we need to take the time to stop and listen to that story and understand that there's a whole lot of other stuff that goes on in people's lives. Just the sheer fact that you stop and listen to that story, you can learn something, like I did this week. But on the other side of the coin is that you could bring such joy to that person. Just giving them the gift of your time and your ears to listen can also bring them a whole lot of joy. So can I just say this week, if you get the time, just to stop and listen to someone's story. You never know what you're going to learn, and it will be a huge deposit into your happiness account. So together, we can keep colouring this world with health and happiness. I look forward to seeing you next week, and hopefully we'll get a chance to share in another bit of happiness inspiration. I'll catch you next time.